Hello and welcome. My name's Jason Reynolds and this is Channel Gap. Today we're looking at policies for prosperity for all. And we have with us Samantha Vinci, who is a Gap Senate representative in the upper house for South Metropolitan. How are you, Sam?
Great, thanks, Jason.
That's good, that's great. So today we're talking, a policy that's been getting a lot of attention for reasons we wouldn't have assumed, 2 years ago, about vaccinations and medical choice and everything along those lines. But I suppose we want to look into some of the other issues that exist around health and some of the real things that occur to us each and every day that have probably been forgotten about or probably swept to the side in amongst this current environment. So, Sam, the first question I want to really look at, there's many different modalities, many different methods of healthcare. What is it that you believe that West Australians are not having available to them, or that they should have more of available to them if they were to be able to make informed choices and have the consent to do so?
Yeah, well, firstly, I'll start by saying that I believe in proactive health. So taking the lead for yourself, I suppose. And it would be good if the system supported this and encouraged individuals to seek ultimate health, and that's a very individual process. And the support needs to cover whatever that looks like for the individual, whether they need to seek naturopathic treatments or acupuncture or homeopathy or whatever it might be, instead of shutting the door on some of these treatments and not supporting it. That we know that they can be successful in helping individuals. So why have we taken them away from private health claims? And we're not supporting that measure of proactive health. There's not a one size fits all for everybody,
Absolutely about informed choice and consent. I mean, there's many cutting edge organisations around, especially in the sporting field, where they adopt a whole range of alternative practices to get the best performance out of elite athletes, and it should be available to everyone to have that choice rather than restricted to a central part that is being directed possibly at the moment. But but there's other aspects as well, I suppose, to look at is the Medicare levy and I suppose the public and private health system. What do you feel is a solution that we can be moving towards here in regards to how those funds are used and what they could actually create in a different experience for people within West Australia?
Yeah, so a complete overhaul of the public system is required. You get to a certain tax bracket and your Medicare levy either increases or you take out private health. So either way, financially for most people, it's better to take out private health. So why can't we use those funds in the public system and instead make private health an option, by reforming the public system. It should be available for us all, and that's one way to direct some funds into it, rather than to the private health, corporations and stuff.
Beautiful. And what do you feel is, I suppose, is most important when it comes to health as an overall policy? What would your message be as far as what you would be pushing for, what you would want attention brought to? What is it that makes you passionate about this particular policy yourself?
Yeah, I would say it's definitely giving the individual more methods to be proactive. So instead of waiting for 5 symptoms to come up before you see a doctor and you get a diagnosis, perhaps if we were able to look into things a little bit more deeply. For example, you go for a blood test at the doctor and the doctor lists a certain amount of blood tests because they're funded under Medicare. Well, a lot of the time that might need to be expanded to look further, and therefore getting ahead of the game, whether it might be hormone health or something. You're a step in front. You know where you're going before you get there, before it's too late and you're digging yourself out, I'd like to see that people are encouraged to take that responsibility for themselves, and that, you know, financially that is supported, because that will ultimately reduce, you know, their claims and health claims in the future if they're already ahead of the ball, you know, taking steps to make sure that they're healthy and therefore not getting so far away from where they need to be that it ends up, you know, costing more, or they're in and out of hospitals more, or whatever it might be.
Great. And I suppose it's a really significant aspect of everyone's life. And when we can create all the wealth, we can create all the prosperity we like, but it's our health that enables us to enjoy that for the longer term. So to be able to have those choices, to be able to remain sovereign and preserve the right to choose how we manage, we uplift and we elevate our own health is a very significant part for all of Western Australia. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, I think that's about it. I just I think that it as it starts with the individual, let's encourage the individual.
Beautiful. Informed consent and education, and having people in places of trust that can inform us on a whole range of topics rather than just one. So thank you very much, Sam. This is the first episode and the first dive into the health policy. Looking further into it, to share and hear more from you soon. But for those people in Western Australia, we've got an election, as we mentioned, on March the 13th. Make your vote count. Vote GAP if you believe that we can represent your needs, what you would like to see in your parliament to ensure that your lives are finding the freedom that you would choose within yourself. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much, Sam. And the Great Australian Party. Policies for the prosperity of all. Vote GAP for the restoration of the Commonwealth. Authorised by E. Nelson for the Great Australian Party, Level 1, 33 226 Beaufort Street, Perth, Western Australia, 6000.